Hi, welcome back. Well, I hope you're getting interested in where we're going on this journey with the House of Judah. It's going to take us in some twists and turns, but I think you're going to continue to find the one thing is true when you live in the kingdom is that it's unpredictable. And trust goes a long way when you don't know where you're going. Okay, so we're going into chapter 3 from Tales of the House of Judah, Supernatural Encounters. The Mysterious Man in Black. Ooh, this was a strange encounter. It was a very hot day in June, and trust me, June in Phoenix can be 120 degrees at times. Summer in Arizona desert can be oppressive. I was running late for work, but my faithful assistant Roger was there to open the store. As I was driving up Ellsworth Road near Apache Junction, I encountered a man walking by the side of the road. He was dressed completely in black. He was wearing a hat and walking with a staff. I mean, this was a really strange thing to see. I thought, what is this? This is so strange. I pulled up alongside him cautiously, considering whether I should offer him a ride. But in the desert, people just do that. This is what we do. And I was trusting the Holy Spirit. I pulled up alongside him, and the temperatures were rising at that point to 110 degrees on its way to 115. The hot noonday sun in Phoenix was no place to be outside walking for very long. Upon engaging in conversation with this man, I thought that he might be a Catholic priest, though I couldn't quite see his collar, whether he had a Roman collar. After offering him a ride to which he declined, I continued on to the store. An hour or so later, I was in the back room of the store when Roger came rushing in, looking like he'd seen a ghost. I said, "What is it?" And he said, "There's a man out front and he's asking to buy a Tanakh." Now, a little sidebar here. We opened the House of Judah with the intention of creating inventory for our customers, both that they might find in a Jewish bookstore and, of course, find in a traditional Christian bookstore. But we wanted to have not just Jewish, but Messianic. I had ordered the Tanakh, which is the Jewish Old Testament, and it was coming from New York. Now, back in those days, we didn't have internet. We didn't have a lot of things. Things just took longer to do. Everything was by phone. But I had ordered Tanakhs, but they hadn't yet arrived. And I was curious how this man knew that the store was going to have Tanakhs. Of course, I'm still in the back room talking with Roger about it. And I said, "Well, Roger, you know the Tanakh." I'm teaching him as I go. The Tanakh includes the Torah, the Nevi'im, which is the writings of the prophets, and the Ketuvim, which are the other writings, the Psalms, the Proverbs, etc. I stepped into the main showroom of the store and stopped dead in my tracks. Standing at the counter was the mysterious man in black whom I had encountered along the side of the road earlier that morning. My heart was racing. I wondered if God had sent him, and if so, for what purpose. As I approached him, the man turned around, and I could now see his collar clearly. It was not a Roman collar worn by Catholic priests. Instead, he was wearing a very large magen, which is a Star of David, hanging from a silver chain. This man in black was a Jew. Now, I have to tell you, there weren't a lot of Jewish people living in Apache Junction. We exchanged introductions. His name was Ezekiel Boaz. Is that a hoot or what? Ezekiel Boaz, really? Seriously, I thought, you can't make this up, Janet. He went by the name of Boaz. That was what he preferred. And he proceeded to tell me he'd heard of our store. I don't know how, but he'd heard of our store and thought we might have a Tanakh for his 12-year-old daughter, Rebecca. It seems Rebecca wanted to participate in the Jewish coming of age, as they call it, the ritual of the bat mitzvah. This is the girl's rendering of the classic bar mitzvah. The Hebrew word bar is the son of, and mitzvah is the commandment. So bat mitzvah is the daughter of the commandment. Boaz had been estranged from his daughter Rebecca for many years because of a divorce. This is rare in Jewish communities, especially Orthodox communities from which he came. But he had been expelled from the tribe, so to speak, at age 17 when he felt compelled to enlist in the army and go fight the war in Vietnam. You see, the plan was for Boaz to follow in the footsteps of his uncle and become a major rabbi, a rabbinical influence in the city of Chicago, which is where he was living. He'd been adopted into a wealthy, prestigious Chicago family. His birth parents were Russian. They immigrated to New York following World War II, but they were tragically killed in a car crash. And so as a toddler, Boaz was somehow brought to Chicago from New York for adoption under the circumstances that he didn't quite understand. Nonetheless, he had a blessed childhood, and it was with a heavy heart that he broke from the fold to go and serve his country. On the day he left for boot camp, the uncle in whose footsteps Boaz was to have followed tore his clothes. This is a Jewish action denoting the death of a son. To the family now, Boaz was dead. The family shunned him forever. After the war, Boaz married a Gentile girl, another stigma on his heritage, but by this time it didn't matter. Together they brought forth two beautiful daughters. Rebecca was the oldest, and Jenny was the younger sister. Now that Rebecca was turning of age, she very much wanted to be reunited with her Jewish grandparents. If she were bat mitzvahed, they might be inclined to invite her back to the fold. At least that was her hope. And here, in the midst of this real-life drama, holding what might be the key to reuniting this family, the House of Judah was going to play a significant role. Was the House of Judah to become the catalyst, a line in the sand for this family to cross over from darkness into the marvelous light of their Jewish Messiah? I advised Boaz that the Tanakhs had not yet arrived, but they should be in by the following Tuesday. He said he would return at that time, but alas, he never came. I waited a week, 2, 3. Finally, I put all the Tanakhs on the shelf, even the one I'd been holding for Rebecca, because we are in business and they were selling. People wanted to know. We were not to see Boaz again for another 2 years. And when he came back, what a story that is, to be continued. If you would like to get Tales from the House of Judah, either in the softcover or the ebook, visit my website, essentialnews.com, and you can order it there. Thank you, and until next time, seek the kingdom first, his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Shalom.